Jasmine, you're in Fiji. How do you feel?
Yeah, amazing. It's Fiji. But yeah, just it's weird feeling. It's weird.
Yeah, you're about as far away as you can get from the UK, and the weather's beautiful here, but it's summer back there too, I suppose.
Honestly, today it's the hottest day of the year. It's 33 degrees, so it's warmer at home than it is for me right now.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like you've got a work list. What's happened?
Yeah, I've got a really big work list just because the boat, even right from the start in Portugal was definitely let's just get it so we can sail. And now it's right, okay, I've got time and I've got the facilities and I've got the help here. So it's now fix stuff that is going wrong and then really prepare for now the rougher oceans.
Yeah. It looked like, we just discussed the bits and pieces about the work list. A lot of it's stopped water coming in. Lots of leaks everywhere over your bunk. But there's some interesting stuff. The load of the Hydroane may be playing up with the back of the boat.
Yeah, so just noticed some cracking. And I got told by somebody actually who helped me install the Hydroane, a guy called Eric, which is why my Hydroane is called Eric, was helping reinforce the back. And he said to me, look, if you see it starting to crack, like here and here, then you've got a problem and you need to reinforce it even further. He said, hopefully it won't because we've put in some stuff anyway, but here's some spare, and it has started to crack. And I'm just thinking if it's already doing that so far, then I might move the Hydroane to the side because it is so much stronger. Not just that it's stronger, but it also gets the rudder out of my bow. And to be honest, I would really like to be able to use more sail. So at the moment, I'm so overpowered so easily with the Hydroane rudder that I literally can't even use my A3 in anything more than 5 knots of wind. Not because I don't know how to use it, but because the boat just goes straight over. I'm so overpowered, the rudder's smaller and obviously not designed for these boats. So I'd really like to have my original rudder back on so I can put up more sail and use my big rotary sail, which is my main sponsor. So.
Yep. Okay, so some big changes coming up. So, and are you having fun?
Yeah. it is fun because, we do have the time. And so it's Skooks, Adam and Canadan, and we're all just sort of doing it together. And it is, obviously there's some stressful bits, but it's quite fun because it's dispersed by just stopping and having conversations, and then we'll make some food or grab a drink or something like that. And it is quite nice, and to just also have a bit of a project, because I think everybody's got families come in, so we're saving doing the holidaying stuff to then do it with families. So it's quite nice to kind of keep ourselves busy and not feel like we're missing out on anything either.
Yeah. So overall, I have no idea why you decided to row across the Atlantic, other than the great adventure and challenge and blah, blah. At some point you decided to do the MGR. Is it delivering what you expected, or is it completely unexpected, better or worse?
So I try not to expect anything at all. If I think about it too much, then it's too scary and I probably wouldn't want to do it. And I don't necessarily expect that I'd ever get to the next place either, so I don't really think about that. But yeah, I definitely I'm not disappointed, put it that way.
Yeah,
Definitely
kind
not
of
disappointed.
Fun. Yep. And so what was the can you describe what was a huge high, something that really gave you a buzz, a single point from Panama to here, something that happened as whoa, bang?
Sailing or on land?
Whichever. I don't mind. Maybe both.
So I'll say on land, definitely just the people. The people are incredible. I met so many just lovely people that just kill you with kindness. It's just oh my gosh, you're doing so much for me, and now I've just got to wave goodbye, and there's nothing that I can sort of really give back or anything. That's quite amazing. But also being at sea, so for me, the experience when I just then when I left Tonga, I had a volcano erupting, which was that was just mint, because I've tried my hardest over the past 10 years to do as much and see as much as possible, and experience new things, and that is something that I have never seen.
So this was it, the one out in the ocean, puffing away.
Yeah, it was. It was the one just connected to Tonga by itself.
Yeah.
Above the island of Latte.
Yeah.
And it was just going off, and I was like, so yeah, one morning I had no wind as well, so literally completely flat calm. I had sunrise here, Latte there, and erupting volcano there, and I was just like, wow. And so actually just like having no wind and knowing that technically I was not really that far away from Fiji was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna relax and enjoy this moment. I'm just gonna sit there and watch it because it's something else, and I'll never see that site ever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The okay, in the sections from Panama to here, you know, they got to Marquesas, Tahiti, and so on. Which would you say was the worst, and the hardest? You know, the one that really was grinding or whatever. And can you describe it?
So I think the main Pacific, the big long one, that had everything in it, that had completely becalmed, going miles backwards. I literally went to sleep for like a few hours and I wake up and I've gone like 10 miles back, you know. But then we had rough seas, we had the lightning, had everything in that leg, which made it relatively challenging. But I don't know whether it's just because it's more fresh in my mind, but this little leg that I just did, that was every condition, like even more so. I had strong headwinds to completely calm, but it was the navigating was more of a problem. I had to stay awake because of all the different islands to potentially crash into or get too close to, and then if you get becalmed there, you've got this atoll and everything. So I think that, in terms of sort of stress, was a lot more, definitely. It was pretty rough. And then I also had the biggest seas I'd ever seen. So
can you describe the seas?
Massive. Just big breaking waves. Like, put it this way, if you ever think you've seen like a rough sea and you try and video it, it looks pathetic.
Yeah.
And you're then like,
absolutely,
are you joking? But if on camera it manages to look rough, you know it's bad. Put it that way, you could tell on camera it was bad.
Yeah, that's too true. Okay, so, and you look incredibly healthy. You look brown. You don't look like what we'd say, with all due respect, a pom. You know, you're not bordering on black yet, but you're looking healthy. You're looking like physically. Did you ever have to dip into the first aid kit at all? You got any knocks, bruises, cuts, bangs? Because you got a black eye at one point.
Yeah, that was just my own fault. Little stuff. It wasn't even like necessarily anything to do with the weather or the boat. Literally, I'd raised my tiller arm and I'd not flipped it up to the height that I normally do. I'd flipped it up like halfway, and then as I turned around from doing something, the Hydroane moved the tiller and I just went like that.
Bonk.
And it went straight into my eye. So yeah, wasn't really anything I could do. But I kept on, I keep on hitting my elbow, and I broke this elbow a few years ago and it's never actually recovered. So that's quite bad, and it affects me quite a lot, just random stuff. So I've got like a support coming for that, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to just keep hitting it anymore, because it does just kill. Like, it means that, it's quite good at the moment, because the tack that we're on, but you know, if I'm on this tack, then I have to use this hand to steer, and I can't. If it's heavy weather as well, like, and I need to be hand steering, I really struggle with that elbow. So it's a good job that that's the high side now, so it's my my right arm. But that's mainly it for there's always little things, little cuts, bumps, scrapes, but no, the first aid kit hasn't been touched, actually.
Yeah, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
so
just a plaster. I ripped the back of my heel off.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that actually really hurt. But I feel like when you're at sea, I don't know what it is, but like when you're out at sea by yourself, like, I'm normally really good with pain, but for some reason, like the tiniest little things you just want to scream about. Yeah. I'm like, if I was on land and I did that, like it wouldn't be a thing. Yeah. But for some reason, your senses are so heightened at sea that I'm just there like, the pain was unbelievable for something pathetic. So I'm like, all right, okay.
Okay, so what about real fear? Like, you've had some pretty, you know, from us from the outside looking in, you've had some pretty tough times. You know, were you ever at this point where you're really, scared, or can you verbalise some of that? You know, scared or unsure, or just sort of a bit anxious or something.
To be honest, the fear always comes beforehand. So right now I'm just trying to, you know, fill up the holes in the boat, and then everybody else that's organised, so people like Renault are trying to ask us about the routing, and, you know, people are talking about the channels to go through to go across the barrier reef and all of this, and where to go to, and they're saying we've got 3 options, and and just the way that they're being described, saying it's like a mile wide, it's shipping, there's big reefs either side, there's often a headwind, and I'm going, I literally can't sail at the moment. I can't sail into the wind because I think the Hydroane rudder really struggles me, so I can't actually get close enough to the wind. I end up literally going side to side rather than forwards, honestly. And I've sailed before I got the Hydroane. I'd sailed with the original rudder and I could go upwind okay, so that's partly why I'm doing it. But I'm like, it scares me that everybody talks about all this scary stuff, and without me having any comprehension of it, and because I've not looked at it myself and I don't quite understand it, that scares me completely. So I'm absolutely terrified for this next bit. Just when I was coming here, they were all talking about around Cape Horn, not Cape Horn, sorry, Cape of Good Hope, and talking about the, you know, having to stop for there at certain times, and we don't have enough time to go around it, and, you know, and somebody said their friends took this long and this, and you get 3-day weather windows, you know, it works in cycles, 3 days of good weather, 3 days of bad weather, but it's going to take us longer than 3 days to go around it, so we've got to pull in somewhere. And I'm like, they're saying don't go more than 200 metres off the shelf of something, and I'm there like, right, and I'm, you know, and that absolutely terrifies me because I just don't understand it, because mentally and physically we're not there yet. But that's just anxiety being like put into my head, and that it freaks me out, especially when good people know what they're doing and what they're talking about are concerned as well. That's what scares me the most.
Okay, that's called fear of the unknown. Perfectly human reaction, but don't overthink it. You'll be fine. Because I know a bit about all of those bits. Not much, and everyone's still learning, but we've got good people involved, and it'll all make sense later.
I hope so.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, that's cool. So, okay, so you're looking good. You must have been eating reasonably well. You know, how's the food side going? How did you manage the water coming across from Panama?
Coming across from Panama, so I just really don't drink very much.
Yeah.
Even though I am, and I'm whole feeling like I think I'm drinking enough, but the fact that I end up here still with 50 litres of water from Panama,
wow,
that I just haven't emptied out, yeah, I think that sort of tells you when I took 150 to start with, so I've had 100 litres, and that's on land as well, since we left Panama. So I'm like, yeah, managed it
Japers.
fine. Got plenty.
Yeah.
I've still got.
Do you have fruit juice and milk and things like that on board? No, nothing at all.
No.
Japers.
Yeah. So if you want some mouldy Panama water,
oh, it won't be mouldy. It's amazing. I always work. It's interesting to watch. You know, Holiday Dan was talking 5 litres a day, and I fell off my chair. And others have given bits and pieces, but I always work on carrying 2 litres a day. You know, it seems to work.
Like 1 litre, probably a day.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not moving massively. The boat's pretty cool inside, and when I'm outside, I sit underneath my solar panels.
Yeah.
So I don't ever really sort of get too warm.
Yeah.
And my body acclimatises really, really well. Like the heat doesn't really get to me massively.
So how did you survive? Because it was super hot there for a while on board, you know.
Yeah.
You just went straight through it.
My body just sort of copes. But I've always I think you kind of go a little bit into survival mode. So like when I was doing like my swim, I would swim 12 hours, not drink anything, not eat anything. Fine.
Jeepers.
Come out. I'm not even like desperate for a drink. I'd then be like, yeah, okay, I'll have a cup of tea. You know, it'll be fine. So my body's just, I think it's just used to me sort of, you know, beating it up a little bit.
Yeah.
That I just cope. And the food, I've eaten not that much. So I didn't realise, when I first got here, I was actually pretty skinny. But that was because I was really poorly in Tonga. Got food poisoning. And so that actually took me quite a long time to recover from it. So definitely the first couple of days, all I ate was some bread and some papaya that I got given. And I think that was actually 4 days worth of food, was 2 papayas and some bread on the way here. And then it was like, right, okay, yeah. And so I didn't realise till I saw like the finished photos. I was like, whoa, I was really skinny when I landed here. But you know, I've eaten plenty since, and I got my little gas cooker, so I'm cooking on the dock. We found bacon here, so.
Where'd you find the bacon?
In Denero.
Ah,
So when we've
okay.
been to
That
Denero-
makes sense. Okay, I know that shop.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So
Okay.
I've got a cool bag, and we've got unlimited ice, and so I'm just cooking breakfast and tea on the dock for everybody, all my hard workers. So I'm eating plenty, which is good, especially because I'm still not exercising too much because we're just on the boat doing stuff, getting that ticked off.
Yeah.
And it's amazing once you've not eaten very much, to then as soon as you have something, your body just holds onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
too true. So the issue of you and whether you're a sailor or not, you're absolutely a sailor now. You've done like 12,000 miles or something. So do you feel it?
No.
Oh no.
I think each time, like, especially because I was like, oh, it was easy up till now, and I'm like, oh right, okay. So once I've managed to get and not end up on the Great Barrier Reef, then I might consider myself slightly more a sailor. And then when I make it round that corner, then maybe again a sailor. But for now, I'm very much like, I don't really kind of consider it till I've done something that, you know, people are known for as a big sailoring challenge, like a corner.
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but you'll always still be learning, but there's a difference. But never mind, that's fine.
Yeah, well,
you've got the typical imposter syndrome, you know.
I'm a sailor for the boat that I sailed here with, but now it's going to be pretty much a new boat, and I'm going to have to learn how it handles with the Hydroane on the side, with my big rudder in the middle again, and you know, now I've got places that I can actually, you know, tie weight up on one side. You know, I can actually now sort of learn how to sail even better. So I know my boat till now. Now I'm effectively having a new boat. So we'll see.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with your boat?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
So you still like her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I can't not, because otherwise she'll do something to, you know, annoy me or sink her and me. But yeah, she's fine, but it's just I do prefer other people's boats.
Yeah. So what's the biggest thing you're missing? You know, you should have a feel now for the whole thing. You've been at sea for, you know, hundreds of days or something, and you know, generally, is there something that you're missing? You know, besides your dogs, you know, besides your mum,
just my dogs.
Just your dogs.
Yeah. No, sometimes it's just normal life back home.
Yeah. Do you think about life going on at that time back home often? You know, like, oh, it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday night in London and blah blah blah. Do you do that much?
Yeah, mainly if I'm trying to call someone. So if I wanted to like ring up my mum or ring up one of my friends, I'm like, it's Thursday night. Mum's going to be swimming in the lake tonight. Right, okay. You know, stuff like that. And I'm like, right, it's the morning on a Sunday morning. She's probably on a dog walk. Where do you reckon she's gone today for the dog? You know, and when I ring up my friends, I'm like, right, it's Friday night. Who's she going to be with? And which pub are they in today? You know, that sort of thing. And I'm like, I can kind of like have a bit of a guess for myself and then be like, you know, I'll ring up Billy and I'm like, so are you in? I'm trying to listen to the sound of the background. I'm like, are you in the Crown and Anchor tonight? You know, it's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, get in. Let's go.
Yeah. How many calls a day do you make?
Not many. I ring my mum probably once a day, but if she's busy, then obviously just like the next day.
Yeah.
And then I speak to a friend, any friend, probably only once a week. And then I speak, to be honest, I speak to these lot. A lot. More than anybody. So it's the kind of one, if I'm on the phone to like my mum or Billy or anybody, I'm like, Adam's ringing me, bye. You know, hang up straight away and I'm like, Adam! You know, like, what's going on? And he's there like, hey Jazzy, have you seen the weather? And I'm like, yeah. It's just stuff like that. And then we kind of discuss just anything, what it's like, what happened that day, especially when it was getting rougher and, you know, they're on land. A lot of it is when they're on land, and I'm then panicking about getting closer to land. And then sort of I ring up whoever's online, so it could be Dan, it could be Adam, it could be Jacob, and then I'll speak to one of them, and then I'll end up speaking to another one, and I'm like, if they give me contrasting information, then we know I've got to ask the third one. So
okay, there's a roundabout question there, because I could say to you now, so okay, do you think the Starlink is a bad thing because it's lost the isolation of the solo challenge and this, that and the other, but everyone's in it for different reasons. So the Starlink is unbelievable, like it's got so many advantages. Did you ever get into the MGR for the image, the brand of being solo at sea, isolated, blah blah blah, or was it, what was the challenge that was driving you? Was it what was it? What's the essence of why you're doing this?
Well, first of all, the Starlink, I literally turn it on once, possibly twice a day, for no more than an hour, because I want to have that isolation. As well. I love the fact that you can just turn it off and ignore everybody, and I'll only go through messages other than entrance and my mum. I will go through messages maybe once a week, every other week, across every media platform. And I kind of wanted to do the MGR. It spoke to me, so I always kind of use an analogy of like, if you're like walking down a street and it's like you're just passing all these shops, but then for some reason that one shop catches your attention and you're like, oh, what's going on over there? And then you kind of go in the shop and you have a wander around and you're like, what was it about that shop? Was it like the display? Was it like the was it just something caught your eye and it sort of drew you to it? And that was me walking around Southampton. Everything was just dull and boring, and it was that your stall just caught my attention.
Yeah.
And I was like, why has it? I've got to I've got to find out what drew my attention to it. And I always think you find out your answer as to why you wanted to do it, not even while you're doing it, but once you've done it.
Yeah.
So I think the answer as to why I wanted to do the MGR is when I stand there in Antigua and just go, well, this is why I wanted to do the MGR. It's such a big thing that you can't even necessarily explain or comprehend even for yourself. It's just an answer in. It's a feeling that can't be described. It's like I'd say like a scent or a colour. You can't necessarily describe it. It's just that's what it is. It's the MGR. Why would you not? Sort of thing.
So what's next once it's all over? Do you think about that much, or So it's a real question. What are you going to do when the MGR's over? I know you've answered me before, but I want to see if it's changing.
So first of all, let's see if I make it and survive. But I think about the future a lot when I'm at sea, and I need to go home and see my dogs and be there for the next couple of years at least. But the more I'm going around the world, the more ideas I keep on getting for different stuff, and there's so many sort of possibilities with things, and just sort of ideas that are happening, and I'm like, hang on, how do I use then my ability and the people that I've met here that would then trust me to potentially, I don't know, deliver a boat or go somewhere, do this, or there's quite a lot of stuff that I'm sort of getting interested by, and I even like the idea of joining the World Arc. You could get paid to sail around the world on a boat, on a luxurious boat, and go to places for longer, and I'm like, that's like what we're doing right now, but cheaper and more comfortable. So I'm like, hang on, maybe it would be. I do eventually. I want to go and do this whole thing again, but slowly, and on a bigger boat, definitely. But yeah, immediately I need to go home. I need to go to work. Go home, see my friends, see my dogs, go to work, get my boat sold, brought home from Antigua, and then see what happens.
See what happens. Absolutely. So risk, we do a lot you and I both do a lot to minimise the risk, right? And things are going to change going down south, blah, blah, blah. What do you perceive as the biggest risk that you face, and what do you do about it? How do you manage it?
So personally for me, the biggest risk is always going to be land. Like, that we were talking about fear, I'm terrified of land. I hate getting anywhere near land where I can see it. It scares me so much. But knowing down there, actually big waves are probably the big risk. Like getting pitch poled is then, it wasn't ever a fear, and now I think it's definitely going to become a bit more of a fear. So yeah, and what do you do to manage them? I don't know necessarily. Just prepare, watch the weather as much as you can, make a decision, and hopefully now we're doing another mass restart, I won't be quite as far behind everybody, like for example a week behind Reno plus whatever I was, but now we're restarting again, and now I've learnt a lot more since Panama. Hopefully that it won't escape as much. Not that I'm not trying to race him or anything like that, but it's watching what he does and learning as you move, I think, is the way that I would minimise risk, is watching and learning from the other 580s that have done it, because fair enough, learn from, you know, the hundreds of other people that have ever done it before, but nobody's done it on a 580.
Yeah.
And so if I can watch someone literally 2 days before I'm about to do it, see what happens, see if they get hit by the storm, what are they doing? Okay, I'm about to get hit, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the issue when you threw your hat in the ring? There would have been quite a few people telling you you're crazy. Some of them still do. But how do you feel? Do you see some of that attitude changing now that you've gone this far and you're actually doing it?
So I didn't actually get that much negativity to start with.
Oh, right.
You'd be surprised. I think because of previously what I've done, I've almost proved myself that people are like, all right, okay, yeah, that's just something else. Whereas I think other people doing it would have got a lot more negativity. And yeah, you get the word crazy every time. So we're walking down here, and you know, yesterday we were looking at some of these other boats, because there's a few boats here for sale and stuff, you know, just procrastinating.
Oh.
So
they want to trade their boats in now and get a bigger boat and just carry on in the bigger boat. Yeah.
But then, you know, people are like, oh, so are you on one of these boats too? We're like, oh yeah, we're on the little ones. Oh, you're the crazies. And I'm like,
we'll have to do a t-shirt.
We are. And then they're like, that's why you're looking at these boats, and you know, and then like, it all works together now. You know, that we're looking at these absolute heaps of boats going like, oh, well, I'm not doing it, but they're like, oh, it's easy. We just need to do this, do that, do that. You know, a bit of a project, and we could sell that all the way back home. You know, it's well cheap, sell it again. And then there's people who are listening, but like, right, you're in the middle. Yeah, that makes sense that you're having these conversations, which is quite funny. But now I see it more as a compliment than anything. You know, if someone goes, "Oh, you're crazy," I'm like, "Yeah, but you know, to be honest, there's been so much lovely hospitality. I think I would still rather my boat than a big cat." Yeah.
Well, that's a big part. I've been there, done that. In the early days, you're sailing little boats around and you get some other big boat come in, they want to know you. It's fantastic. When you get another big boat alongside another big boat, usually they'll just keep having their cup of tea.
Yeah. But we all would rather have our boats than a big cat, 100%.
Yeah.
And so we're just very happy. We're settled in, and like Adam was saying, he just says it randomly. He'd just be sat there and he'd just go, oh, I love my little boat. And I'm like, oh, I love your boat too. And it's there like,
oh no, that's worse.
And we're like, let's have a cup of tea. You know, and it's just really nice. It's like, it's and then, you know, it's like, I like my boat. And then somebody else is like, I like certain things of my boat.
Jesus, sounding more and more like Monty Python now. So, oh, well, you know.
Honestly,
I'm embarrassed I'm on a big boat now. But anyway, well, that's fantastic. So when you well, even here, you know, you step off your boat and you're looking back at the boat, and step away from yourself as a sailor, and you're looking back at the sailor that sailed that boat. Do you feel proud, or you know, how do you feel, you know, when you realise what's going on? It's pretty serious.
At the moment, as my boat is, you can barely even see the boat because there is tools, sails, bedding. It's an absolute disaster site. Like a bomb's been hit it. At the moment, I'm not proud one little bit. I look at it and go, oh, I hope nobody knows that's my boat. But when it's all tidied away and, you know, I then can see that the faults have been fixed, I'm going to be like, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, but you're doing it too. This is the big thing, you know, like, yeah, it's pretty impressive. Okay, I think we're done. Anything you want to say to I think you've got 1 or 2 followers? I've noticed 2 people there that are at least following you.
I've definitely got 2 followers. My grandma.
Oh, right, and your mum. Anything you want to say, you know, to people and stuff?
Thank you for the support again. It's amazing. It's definitely needed. And if anything, I probably need it more coming up. Yeah. Probably it. Yeah,
it's amazing what you're doing, and it's so good to have young people like you and me involved with all this, you know. So, not to mention that I know, you know, it's got nothing to do with it in some ways, but there's a lot of girls and women probably following as well. You know, it's all very impressive. So you're doing a great job. Thanks for being part of it. Okay, I think we're done. Thanks, Jazz. We'll see you again. We'll do this again in Cape Town. Ooh.